All right, next up we have episode 11, which is Eve. I love this episode. This is a big, episode for me in the past. I just, and rewatching it, it holds up so well. I adore this episode. And I might be a tad biased because I have identical twin daughters, and there's some identical twin girls who play these characters in here. But I like this episode way before I ever had kids. So yeah, I just thought this episode, I don't know, all the twists and the turns, and I love it. So let's talk about it. Now, it starts off with this couple. They're out walking, jogging, whatever, and they see this little girl, and she's out there, and they're like, what the hell? Why is she out here by herself? She's like out by the street, and she's only 10 or something. So they go to try to find her parents, and they know the dad, and he's sitting over on a swing set, and they look and investigate further, and they see that he has 2 bite marks, what it looks like to be bite marks on his neck, making us think, oh, vampires. This is going to be a vampire episode. So, of course, Mulder doesn't think vampires. He thinks, oh my God, this is crazy. Aliens! I know. Mulder never thinks it's aliens. But then they go to talk to this little girl, and this little girl tells Mulder exactly what he wants to hear, that the people from the clouds did it, and that there was red lightning and all the things that Mulder wants to hear. And he's looking at Scully like, yeah, bitch, look at this. I got some proof. So they're trying to figure out how this guy was insinuated. There you go. Having all his blood taken out of his body, open up his jugular and just let the blood pump itself out without any, proof of blood anywhere. There's none laying around anywhere. You see a really good use of this in The Exorcist 3 when they put all the jars of blood right next to his body and there's no traces of blood anywhere else. I love that scene. Such a fantastic film. I hope to do The Exorcist films soon enough. And so then they get called in to San Francisco because they're over in Connecticut, and they find out that there is another one of these murders exactly the same. So they go out to find that out, and they find out that this guy has the exact same marks, was sitting on a swing set, and died at the exact same moment as the other guy, which, holy shit, what? Like, I remember, just watching it this time, I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then they go and they meet a little Cindy Reardon, and she looks exactly like the other girl that they just met. Or maybe Cindy Reardon's the first one, and this one's the other one. Can't remember. Cindy Reardon, for some reason, is the only name I can remember. I can't remember the other girl's name. I don't know why that one's stuck, but the other one did not. And this, of course, then throws, anybody would be like, what the fuck? And I like how Scully is, trying to wrap her head around, and she's like, well, it is possible for 2 people to look eerily similar. And it's like, yeah. And their dads just so happen to be killed at the exact same minute in the exact same way. 5,000, 3,000 miles apart. And then Mulder says, I'd like to get the odds on that in Vegas. And she's just like, well, I thought that was a great line because it was just like, yeah, Scully, good try. So we find out from the mom that she had in vitro. And so they go down to that facility to talk to the doctors and see what the hell happened there. And they find out that the person who did it had always been a problem and whatnot. So they go and they find out that she has, that she's locked up. And then so she goes in, it's like the Eve Project. There's a bunch of clones, and they go and they look at the picture on her wall of her clones, and the clones all look like the little girls from before. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here? And so that girl broke out, and she went and started experimenting and cloning herself, because cloning was brought to light because they wanted to build a super race of super soldiers, which makes sense. I mean, if you have a specimen that is just this physical specimen that's amazing in all ways, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins. That's the whole idea there. You just want to try to make the perfect person. But we find out that Eve 7 and Eve 8 escaped from prison, that they have an IQ of around 265 because they have 56 chromosomes, which gives them unnatural strength and intelligence and agility and every freaking thing you can imagine. They're just perfect beings. I don't know why the girl's so unattractive, though, because you'd think maybe they would perfect that as well, but I guess not. Those little kids are cute, though, but they're not going to be very attractive when they grow up, so this episode shows us. And I like when they introduce the twins together. Like, they've never met, they knew nothing about each other supposedly, but they just knew. So they have some kind of psychic link. All these clones seems to be linked. I guess that's one of the other chromosomes with some kind of psychic link. And they smile when they meet each other. And then they poison Eve 7, get rid of her. And so then they try, and then they make it look like, and I thought this was also very brilliant, that they have Fox and Scully come in, and they're trying, they go and they find the dead body, and they're like, what the fuck? And so they find the kids, and the kids are like, she tried to make us drink. She wanted to do a suicide pact, like Jonestown or something. And I was like, oh man, that's smart. Like, she's going to kidnap you guys, and she wants to get rid, fix her mistakes, I guess. Like, if she's killing herself, she's taking everything with her. She's going to take their clones with her and everything. And I was like, wow, that's really smart. And then they go off and they try to poison Mulder and Scully. But Mulder forgets his keys. Thankfully, goes back and sees the poison on the table there, and goes on after them like, oh hell no. And they try to grab him, and this is pretty cool too. They try to grab him, and because they're kids, they're screaming out, let us go, let us go. And some trucker comes out with his gun and is like, oh, let her go, let her go. I thought I love everything about this episode. It's just like how everything plays out. And then, Mulder and Scully trick them by Scully driving off without Mulder, so that makes them reveal their hiding spot, and Mulder comes up and grabs them, which you would think that they would try to fight him because they have abnormal strength, right? But they don't fight him at all. They just wait there patiently for the cops to come, grab him, put him in handcuffs, and throw him in jail. Like, I find it very odd that they didn't fight Mulder in the slightest. But they do. They threw him in, and then Eve 8 came for them in jail, and they were like, we already knew, like, we just knew. So they have a connection to all of the Eves. I don't think these guys are ever brought up again, but I'll be looking forward to seeing if they're ever mentioned again or not. I don't know. We'll see. All right.